What?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
I'm just
But of
saying,
course,
you gotta remind people.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe.
subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Hello, friends. Welcome in to Get in the Hole right here from the Underground Sports Network, streaming live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you can get your favorite podcasts. Bringing you all the news and betting tips and updates from across the golfing world. We have a lot to get to this week, and it all starts with our awesome partners that we get to shout out every single week. And of course, you already know where I'm going with this one. It's 47 brand, one of our favorite brands. Actually, ironically enough, as I open up the website, they throw Bryce Harper's gorgeous face and that incredibly trim beard and those beautiful blue eyes in their Carhartt collab.
So what we getting done today?
The usual.
Perfect.
It almost like targeted ads are one thing. Now all of a sudden they're taking it to a whole new level.
It's the best. The fact that we are brand teammates with Bryce Harper and Bubba Wallace is the coolest thing ever.
So that gives us 1 degree of separation then technically from Bryce Harper.
Correct. And like the Bryce Harper ad is just perfect. It's him getting a haircut in the Carhartt, and they're just like, fine. It's the most ASMR commercial ever, and I love 47 for doing it. He's got the Phillies Carhartt hat on, and like the barber's just like cutting the little hairs that are popping through like the top holes of the hat. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a brilliant ad. And the 47 Carhartt collection, Steve, is just gorgeous. And I love that it's also in every single team's stadium now too.
We gotta stop talking about Bryce Harper, or else Max is gonna start tearing every hair out of his head thinking about the 2019 when the Yankees could have signed him and not have been in the albatross hole with Anthony Rizzo and now Ryan McMahon playing third base and Gleyber Torres being an all-star. I'll just stop right there. Oh, and also Anthony Volpe being unemployed by the end of the year. Use the link in our description. Shop everything related to 47 brand in the game that we love. You can get your official hat, headwear of the TGL, as well as, of course, that Carhartt collection and all of their golf collab hats using their bird technology from the Vacation, Rangefinder, Mulligan, and Milkwood styles, and more. Again, link in our description. Get free shipping on all orders at 47 brand. I already spoiled it, and if you've been watching on YouTube, you already know exactly who's in front of you right now. We want to welcome in a very special guest to the top part of the show, friend of the program. We haven't seen you since Philly, Max. It's been great. Max Schreiber of Newsday. He's been also working around with SI. A lot of great stuff coming out of Sports Illustrated, particularly now with the playoffs looming and a Ryder Cup selection that's really going to be ruffling feathers. A lot to be excited for. Max, thank you so much for hopping on the show. We love getting to chat with you. Of course, you can follow Max on Twitter at MaxWeber13. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. It's been a while, and unknowingly, I am wearing a 47 Hartford Whalers shirt.
Let's go.
So, there we go.
He's a company man.
Subconsciously a company man. Too bad I didn't wear my 47 Giants shirt, for the underground Philly listeners. I want them
the
to
Whalers logo is
possibly read my work.
The Whalers is all time, though. That logo is just one of the best logos to ever exist.
Probably one of the best logos in sports history. It's perfect with the H in the W. It's.
I will always stand by, and Max, I know you know this, KB. I'm not sure if you recall, but before the PWHL, the Professional Women's Hockey League, or the Premier Women's Hockey League, the league before that, the Connecticut women's team was the Connecticut Whale, and they inherited part of they inherited the colorway of the Hartford Whalers, but their logo, I always thought if they brought back a team and bring them back to Connecticut, they shouldn't do the Hartford Whalers. That they should just maintain it and use that as an old timey moniker. But the Connecticut Whale really had the best logo. It was a cartoony looking whale, and what looked like kind of like the Cincinnati Red Sea or the Bears Sea. It was absolutely tremendous. That was the apex. And of course, Max and I going to college in Connecticut, we get to kind of commiserate with the the loss of Hartford's team. But anywho, lots of golf to get to. I want to start off with the FedEx Cup playoffs because naturally we're only a week away. It's the Wyndham Championship this weekend. Kurt Kitayama didn't ruffle any feathers where we could have had some major disruptions in the FedEx Cup standings. But a lot of movement from this past week at the 3M. Now we go to the final week of the year, and a lot to think about. A lot of guys who are on the cusp. Got some guys in the safe zone, and then a lot of guys who are kind of fighting for what's eventually going to be only 100 tour cards come next year. So the top 125 only gets that much more indicative and important now before we head to the fall series. Max, I want to get your take here first and foremost. Amongst the guys that are currently on the bubble in the FedEx Cup playoffs, who are some of the people that we should be acknowledging as like the bubble guys who need to perform well going into this week in order to make the playoff and hopefully have a shot at the Tour Championship?
Well, I mean, not to sound too cliche, but anyone in particular hovering around that 60 to 80 spot, right? I mean, someone who's like 61, Ricky Fowler, Evan Van Rooyen's at 65, and then Matty Schmid is 70. So if I'm saying his name correctly. So, yeah. I mean, obviously you're going to look at those guys, and someone like Ricky, might not, and like Tony Finau as well, don't need to have a great week. Obviously, if they make the cut and then do a little moving on the weekend, they'll probably be safe. So obviously it's the guys that are on the outside looking in, Nikolai Højgaard, and then you have like Adam a little bit further back, right? You have Adam Scott, you have Max Homa, who's like 106. I think Joel Damon is 100. So obviously those guys will need to have I have a bubble piece up on SI.com right now, which kind of lays out the different scenarios for the minimum finishes that the people need who are outside the bubble without any help. So like someone like Homa if he doesn't win, he's going to need like a two-way tie for second or something like that. But then there's, a few of, I hate to use this term, but more of the rank and file players around 70, right? Keith Mitchell, players amongst those likes who, probably the casual fan doesn't know, but the diehard golf fan is, really curious whether or not they're going to be playing in Memphis next week.
Yeah, we can talk more about the guys who are currently like in the safe zone because there are some surprises that I think if you look over the course of the year, you'll see names pop up in the playoffs next week that are playing this week, but don't necessarily have any sort of leash, I guess you could say, and need to perform well. But you mentioned Max Homa and just getting off the beaten path to the very back of the board, right? There are some names that even the casual golf fan will look deep down this board and they'll go, wow, there are some guys who just did not play well. And it feeds into the whole Ryder Cup discussion that we've been having for the last few weeks. Like Max Homa sitting, I believe, at like 140 right now, right in that like range. I'm sorry, little higher up in the 110s. Like, just has not been the same player that he was 2-3 years ago. Sahith Theegala, that's the guy who I meant in the 140s and battling injuries. He's certainly at risk. He hasn't won a tour title yet. Won a tour title following this year. Probably going to have to fight for the fall, hopefully to retain his tour card come next year. But there's a bunch of names who kind of stand out and just had really rough goes of things to find themselves in a hole where they're probably going to have to be playing in the fall. Is there anybody in that area not necessarily going to be making an impact this week? Like you said, Maxwell was going to need like a two-way tie for second to get there. But is there anybody deep down there who you're kind of concerned about, even going into the fall, who might be at risk of even losing a tour card?
I mean, looking at the list right now, obviously Theegala, right? I don't think he is in danger. I mean, Zalatoris has battled injury. Adam Hadwin is another name who really kind of quietly has plummeted in the world rankings and in the FedEx Cup the past 2 years. I think probably since pinpoint since he lost in that playoff to Ricky and Colin in Detroit 2 years ago. He's another one. Dunlap, I mean, he's got a 2-year exemption, maybe even more because he won twice last year. Or maybe not because he was an amateur when he won the Amex last year. So I don't know. Yeah, I have to look into the weirdness that he doesn't get all the benefits because he was an amateur, but then he accepted it and then he won Barracuda. So he probably has a 2-year exemption, even though that's an opposite field event. golf can be really confusing. So he's another interesting one. He's really down there. He's had a really brutal season. I mean, Cameron Champ is partial status, right? It's been grinding on the Korn Ferry Tour as well, and has put up some good rounds, but ultimately has faltered. Same as Power as well. He has a few wins under his belt, but 130. Adam Schenk is another one. So yeah, and I mean, like, you really go down the list. I mean, someone like Adam Sevson, Nick Hardy. So just I hate to use the term the rank and file players, but they're probably you're going to see them playing in the fall. Fall golf isn't always the most captivating golf to watch, especially for the casual fans, where it's not even on network TV. You have to watch it on Golf Channel. But I think it should be pretty interesting to see who comes away, especially this year with the top 100 getting cards. It's going to be pretty competitive, and some of those fields in the fall are probably going to be a little bit better and possibly a little more worth watching.
Yeah, so I actually just did some more research. So Sahith Theegala actually is currently at risk of losing his tour card unless he gets the medical exemption for the year, which will I'm not sure how the PGA Tour is usually kind of quiet about releasing those things, but Will Zalatoris also fits in that realm. Obviously, he's been dealing with a lot of back injuries over the past 2 years. It's been a really up and down run for him. Max Homa is in that risky area as well. We'll likely be seeing him in the fall. Joel Damon, like we had mentioned, especially with the split from Gino Benali, kind of finds himself in a situation where you need to play really well this week. And then in the fall, he's also at risk of losing his card. You mentioned Adam Howland. Alex Noren falls in the category there. Someone who actually I was really high on 2 years ago, who seemed to have kind of figured it out, but almost kind of fluttered into like non-existence. Taylor Montgomery. He's currently in the 150s right now, just nowhere to be seen. He's kind of had that like Tom Kim start and the Tom Kim drop. Tom Kim's another name that probably be looking out for as we head towards the playoff. But getting into the guys who are who are in range, there's a ton of guys from 1 through 70 who the casual golf fans are going to know. They're going to be looking out for throughout the year. But I find it funny when I'm preparing the segment, I'm looking at guys like, how the hell did they manage to make their way into the top 20, top 30? I mean, like, it's easy to point to like Brian Campbell and just be like, who? Two-time winner, obviously, this year, which is a incredible feat for somebody who, for 5-6 years, was just a grinder on tour. Like, Brian Campbell came into the PGA Tour ranks the same year as Bryson DeChambeau, and that's totally two different kind of careers off the bat. Ryan Gerard also kind of fits the mold. 23 years old, got his first win only a couple of weeks ago at the Barracuda. So he fires his way all the way up into the top 70 right now. There's other names as well. Ryan Fox has been a staple on tour, but another two-time winner this year. I had mentioned like the surprises that he was this consistent the entirety of the year. Some names that stand out like Tom Hoagie, Jacob Bridgman, Harry Hall, Bud Cauley, Sam Stevens. Sam Stevens was in contention just this past week. Like, really consistent guys. Are you surprised by any of these names, or do you think they could make a big push as we look even ahead this week past the Wyndham and towards the playoff push?
Got you. So you're asking essentially players within the top 50 or like top 70 right now?
Yeah, like guys who are surprising. They could probably make a decent run if they can play well enough.
Yeah. Well, looking at the list right now, right, there's a lot of interesting names, especially within this 30 to 50 range, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Wyndham Clark just squeaked in there with a top 10 last week in Minnesota. Jake Knapp is someone who has sneaky had a good season, right? I probably should have won down at in the Palm Beaches. I was actually there, and he had that like double, or even I think it might have been triple, where he had his foot in the water after shooting a 59 in the second round. Matt Fitzpatrick was totally lost, and he has seemingly found his game since the PGA Championship. One name that's kind of surprising that he's this low is Xander Schauffele. I mean, I know he had the injury and he didn't play until, I want to say it was the Florida swing, right? I think he came back at Bay Hill. So understand that he lost that amount of time, and he hasn't had a terrible season. I mean, he's put up some decent top 10s, but ultimately it's just not enough right now to be within that top 30 threshold, which is pretty odd considering last year he won 2 majors, of course. And, Minwoo Lee as well has kind of been lost, but he won in Houston. And Spieth at 50, the thing with Spieth is I've watched a lot of Spieth this year in person, but also mostly on television remotely. And he's not as he's in this weird ground because he's not the player he was a few years ago when he fell to 91st in the world. But he's also not the player he was 2 years ago when he was still a top 10 player, right? He hasn't won since 2022, but he had a lot of close calls in 23 at Bay Hill, Valspar, lost in a playoff in Hilton Head. So, he's someone that I do think can, put up a top 20 this week and maybe kind of squeak into, it's a BMW. I think the Tour Championship would be a little bit of a stretch, but it's been a funky season. Obviously, he had wrist surgery, didn't play for 6 months, came back, was fine, trying to find his groove. Then he had to withdraw at the Travelers in the middle of the first round. So it's been a weird year, but I don't think, I don't think he's like completely fallen off. I still think there's something there. Maybe he only has like 1 or 2 tour wins left in his entire career, which is kind of crazy to say. Mm-hmm. That's not something we would have thought 10 years ago, but I think he's someone that could be pushing to secure a spot in the BMW Championship, and then I guess we'll see what happens for Eastlake.
I think it's great you bring up Jake Knapp. It's like the guy who can almost win every single event. He just always manages to lose it in the last minute. I feel like that was even this past week at the 3M, kind of like he had the momentum and just blew it on, I think it was 16 or 17, just couldn't find the back of the cup. I think 3-putted for a double and fell out.
He shot at like 62 in Detroit a few weeks ago as well, and finished the job.
Imagine shooting at 59 and like not finishing top 5 in the tournament. That's like it's almost a obscenity. We'll have you on later to talk like Ryder Cup stuff as we get closer to it, but you're talking kind of like right in the realm here where I think it's an interesting thing to chat about. The performances of guys throughout the year, you don't think about it much when you go into the FedEx Cup playoffs because everything is all brand new, things change, are rapidly growing, but it's hard to not look at, and again we talk about it with the Ryder Cup, the prospective teams who are going to end up playing at Bethpage later on this year. You go down the board and it's kind of like when you look even at the FedEx Cup playoffs, it's like who really has played that well throughout the year. Xander Schauffele at 41st, Ashia Bhatia is 44th. I thought going into the year, Ashia Bhatia would be a first-time Ryder Cup hopeful.
Same.
He'd be like an easy captain's pick. He has not simply played any good golf. I mean, you can jot up Wyndham Clark's 2 big wins at the U.S. Open and Pebble Beach to being like the anomalies of anomalies. But he simply has not played very well. Jordan Spieth's trying to figure out his swing, trying to get back to form. Like you said earlier, Finau and Ricky, 60 and 61st. And then there's guys on the outside looking in. Like what happened to Eric Cole, who was a PGA Tour Rookie of the Year 2 years ago? What's happened there? Davis Thompson was a top 30 player in the FedEx Cup Tour Championship last year, and now back to 78th. There's like guys up and down, and then like Tom Kim, we even mentioned earlier in the program, has not figured out his game. Is there any guy of the aforementioned players that you had mentioned that like 40 to 50 range who you think could really like shock people when now playoff formats, we get a little bit more hardened, every single shot matters a little bit more? Is there somebody who can surprise people, maybe even though they're a big time name and a well-known name, could make a push to the Tour Championship and maybe even kind of not run home now with the new format, now that we're off staggered strokes, but could make a improbable run from 45 or 50 all the way to possibly taking home the title?
Yeah, I would say Denny McCarthy is one I would throw a flyer on. I mean, he's one of the best putters in the world. He seemingly is always in contention, throughout a year. Probably should have won a Memorial a few years ago before losing to Victor. And he just has never really been able to get over the finish line. But I could see just putting up 3 consecutive top 10s or something like that and getting in there. I would say also Wyndham Clark, to be honest. I know he has had a rough start to the season, and then it got even rougher with all the off the course stuff, which is you can't defend any of that stuff. And his response as well has not been the best. But I've seen some signs of life from his game, particularly across the pond, but then also last week in Minnesota. So I think if he gets into the BMW, right, he has a good week in Memphis, he gets into the BMW, and then there's a possibility that he gets to East Lake, and one thing, and I'm sure we're possibly going to get to this in the next few minutes, but East Lake now with the match play format, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a crapshoot, but it's gonna be, someone could just go off and make their way to the final, right? I mean, right now Ryan Gerard is 29th, so let's just say he makes it. Goes and wins 3 matches, makes it, finishes like 4th in the FedEx Cup. It would sound odd, but I'm sure something like that could happen. Because I mean, yes, of course, like Scotty is the favorite and Rory will be second most likely, but going up in a singles match, I mean, technically anything could happen.
I mean, it is match play. We've seen crazier things in the past, right?
Yeah, and Scotty too at the Ryder Cup 2 years ago, he suffered the worst defeat with, I think it was with Brooks, like he had the worst defeat in the history of the Ryder Cup. I know that wasn't singles, but just
let's not try and open old wounds about what happened in Rome. When in Rome, we keep it there. We're trying to avoid things. It's Vegas and Rome; those things stay off and away. I think like as we progress through the FedEx Cup playoff, you could see anybody kind of jump out and play really inspiring golf. I mean, I've been really big on a lot of these like mid-tier names who, like Matt Fitzpatrick is a great example of it. Somebody who, when he won at the Country Club, was absolute top of his game, has kind of like lost himself, and all of a sudden in about a 3-month stretch went from like 86th in the world all the way up to an almost top 10 player in the game. He's got 3 straight top 10s, hasn't played since the Open, but like certainly has the skills in order to get to where he wants to be. And like with the movement of a lot of things that have happened over the course of the last month, 2 months, we've chronicled the mass caddy and putter movement that is Colin Morikawa, like what's happened to him. There's been a ton of movement in those areas and guys trying to like find new ways to game their game out. Firing swing coaches, firing putting coaches, firing caddies, trying to move on and try new different things. And Fitzpatrick is a great example of that. He can go in and certainly make a huge splash. I mean, anybody from 1 through 70, I talk about it every year. The parity in golf is unlike any other that it's been. And whether or not you're watching the show and you're 70 years old and you remember the bygone era where it was like 4 or 5 guys every week who were going to go up back in the 90s and win a golf tournament. It was like the 5 or 6 guys at the top and everybody else. Nowadays, the reason why the odds board is as tight as it is because literally anybody can do it. I saw a post by the PGA Tour last week. Of course, with Kirk Kitayama winning, it stays the same. But Ryan Gerard was the 999th unique tour winner in history. Like, kind of crazy to see, like, there you can have so many different people. And I get it doesn't sound like it's a huge number. This game's been played for 150 years or more. But the fact that you can have anybody on any given week go out, win a golf tournament, Ryan Gerard, Brian Campbell, Ryan Fox, Jake Knapp, if he could figure it out, all the way down to like Aldrich Potgieter, who I said going into the year was going to be someone to look out for. Lo and behold, he gets his first win. Chris Gotterup, who's worked his way into Ryder Cup contention, getting his win at the Scottish, and has basically had a 3-week run unlike anybody else on tour this year. I think it's certainly a possibility that when you get to a match play setup at East Lake, anything is possible and anything can happen in any given go. And that's why we're talking about it. That's why we get to the FedEx Cup playoffs. And even there are guys who are at the 120 spot, like Zach Johnson, could all of a sudden go out and play the week of his life. I remember it was 3 or 4 years ago, it was the 6-way tie at the Wyndham, and Kevin Kisner almost had a chance to win and play his way into the playoff at 44 years old. Like, anything is possible when you really kind of get down to it.
I think if I remember correctly, I think Kisner actually did end up winning, right?
Did he win that? Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'm like testing my knowledge right now.
Well, I just say because it's so funny because it's like now you look at him, right? He had that pretty good round early last week, and then there was a PGA Tour.com piece on him, like how he's just like, yeah, I don't really care like how I play, like there's no pressure, but it's kind of weird how like 3 years ago he was a winner on tour, and now he's in the broadcast booth, and we can analyze him in the broadcast booth another day.
He actually did win that in 2021. Also, I'm sorry, kids, I'm aging you. You're only 41 now, so you won it at 38. I don't know why I thought you were 44, but like the guy won.
40 seemed I figured he was up there too, to be honest.
I mean, look, you know what? The minute you're chosen as a Ryder Cup vice captain, I immediately think you're like 70 years old. Like now it's different. This whole cast of characters is a very young and spry group compared to what usually is waltzing out there. But like Kevin Kisner won in 2021. Listen to this playoff set. Adam Scott, Kevin Na, God, Siwoo Kim, Brandon Grace, the LIV legend, and Roger Sloan. That was your 6-man playoff at the last event of the 2021 calendar season. Absolutely freaking nuts. And also, like, what a world that we're in now that two of those guys are now on LIV and that whole tour thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get you back in to talk more Ryder Cup stuff. I do want to get to one other topic, though, as we wrap up the FedEx Cup chatter. I do want to get into what might be my favorite developing story of the golf calendar season. And if we don't talk about anything else on the LPGA tour for the rest of the year, it might just be the fact that Lottie Woad might be the next greatest golfer. And it's only been 3 weeks of seeing her. I mean, I've talked more about Lottie Woad in 3 weeks than I have probably 90% of the top 70 players in the PGA Tour world. And that's kind of saying something. You go from Augusta National Women's Amateur 2 years ago. You play your heart out at Florida State, play some incredible golf, and then goes in, wins, I think it's like her second start, but as an amateur, gets her tour card, goes out first week, wins the Scottish Open. Like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I mean, it's been literally one professional week and one professional win, but where does this girl go from here?
Yeah, it's been a really improbable ride. And it's funny, yesterday when Steve asked me to come on the show and then gave me some of the topics we were going to talk about, he said something like, do your research. And I wrote research with a question mark. I was like, I've written about her 3 times in the last week. And today, this morning, it was 4. So it's like some of the graphs, some of the paragraphs I've been putting in these stories are just like repeats, repeated, where it's like, oh, like, yeah, won the Irish Open, then finished third at the Wyndham Championship, a major, and then wins last week. And yeah, I mean, what she's been doing is incredible. She just has a really, like, she doesn't have this. I don't mean this to come off in a bad way, but she almost like doesn't have like a crazy like game that you like are drawn to when watching her. Like, she just, to me at least, she just plays a really clean game. She's clean off the tee, and she has just been able to kind of outpower everyone. So obviously the sky's the limit for her. She's the betting favorite at the Women's Open this week, which is pretty bizarre. I mean, I know, right? She has 2 wins in her last 3 starts and finished third in France in the major. So that's obviously pretty good. But you know, still like over Nelly Korda, like over some of these. Now it's weird because the LPGA too, right? We haven't had a repeat winner all season. There's been like 21 different champions, so there's a lot of parity on the LPGA tour. But you know, for her to be the betting favorite, having just turned pro a week or 2 ago at 21 years old, you know, over Nelly Korda is very interesting. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's just it says something. That's all.
You know, the last time that a certain LPGA golfer was the betting favorite within her first 5 starts as a pro?
I do not. It's a good trivia question.
Was in fact Lexi Thompson, and that's also granted she was 17 years old, but at the same time, the girls always just get started earlier than the guys. Like, the story of Lottie Woad though is fascinating because didn't go through the superstar junior rank. Like, I remember going into, I think it was the ShopRite. The big exemption name was Gianna Clemente, who naturally is 16 years old, incredibly talented, but like, she kind of is taking on the moniker that like Michelle Wheat took on, and Leslie Thompson, and all these great players who started out so young going to the college golf route for a lot of these girls means that you're starting later. You usually usually hit your peak later as well. But for Lottie Woad, it just seems to be easy. And you're right. She doesn't have this like jump off the page game. She's just really clean and sleek, and she just plays it well. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit, and it's sort of a bad comparison because naturally, when you talk about the number one golfer in the world, you're like, oh wow, he has a great game. But Scottie Scheffler doesn't have a incredibly like insane looking game. He doesn't give you that spark, and maybe it's because he's not like Tiger, and everyone wants to compare him to Tiger. He just kind of is him. And we talked about it like last week. The guy would rather sit on his couch and watch Happy Gilmore too than go party at the bar after winning at Portrush. That's just who he is. I think it's two very similar players, both very humble players, both people who are just kind of, they go out there, they play their game, and that's kind of it. They're not gonna blow you off the page, and honestly, you might not even recognize them if you go see them at a restaurant. But they're two of the best golfers in the world actively. So I think it's fascinating to see what can come of Lottie Woad, but also like the sky's the limit. It's only been truly 1 week.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've covered Rose Zhang a lot, especially since she turned professional. And of course, now everyone's like, the sky's the limit, the sky's the limit. And I understand what they're referring to or what they're expecting. But Zhang, I wouldn't say she's played poorly since she won in her pro debut. But she only has only one win since then, which is not bad. And then this year, I had a chance to talk to her for a feature story at the Mizuho, right? 2 years at the same tournament since when she burst onto the scene in her first pro start. And I think with Rose Zhang, which is they're drawing the comparisons to Lottie Woad the most, right? Also, both are ANWA winners.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's like, what type of footsteps is she gonna follow in? And I think with Zhang, she's still trying to get her degree. She's managing, doing school, and also trying to embark on an LPGA career at the same time. And she's kind of admitted that it's not been a great fit, but she's doing it because getting her degree is important for her. I think if Lottie Woad just goes all in on an LPGA career, the sky is definitely the limit. But also at the same time too, like, sure, she could be the next Nelly Korda. She could be the next, Annika Sorenstam and win 10 majors and win 72 times. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see somebody win that much, but win 40 times. But then even like Lexi Thompson, right? You just mentioned her. She kind of burst onto the scene, got one major, was unable to get another major. And I think she's won, I could be wrong, like 19 times. So that's pretty good though, to say the least. So I think, maybe somewhere in that happy medium is kind of maybe Lottie Woad's ceiling.
I was just thinking of this, Max, when you were bringing up Lottie Woad and like the start to her career, and it's kind of like a cross of LPGA, PGA. What do you think makes Lottie Woad's start and her trajectory kind of veer off? And Steve, we were kind of talking about this player I'm about to bring up either last week or 2 weeks ago. Tom Kim bursts onto the scene, when he first got on the PGA Tour. What do you think allows Lottie Woad to kind of go in a different path than what we've seen Tom Kim kind of go on after he like burst onto the scene and was this electric figurehead? And a lot of people were like, oh, he's the next, young phenom, this, that, and the third. What do you think differentiates the path for Lottie Woad to not that Tom Kim is like a terrible golfer, obviously, but it hasn't been that similar success trajectory that he had early on? How do you think Lottie Woad kind of avoids that and continues in, that superstar kind of trajectory?
Yeah, that's a great point, because I also actually was thinking of that when I was doing some prep work for the Wyndham, and I was going back into Tom Kim's victory a few years ago, and I was like, they're really similar, right? Because Kim was not even a PGA. He had like special temporary status, then wins Wyndham. She was like he opened with a quad that on his first hole that week, and then go and shoots a final round 61, which I totally forgot until I was researching it the other night. But so I think with the difference between the two, and this is just, obviously I'm not inside either of their minds, but Tom Kim, he kind of bursts onto the scene. He's 20 years old when he wins. He has another win in the fall, and then it took him another year to win. I think he successfully defended his title in the fall in that Las Vegas event, which is now defunct. So the thing with Tom Kim is he did really have like an affable personality. Like everyone, he was this 20-year-old kid. Everybody really enjoyed when he spoke, what he said, the way he played the game, right? The way he drove the ball. So he did kind of jump off the page a little bit on the course, yes, but even more so off the course. And he was like the next big thing, and then he was on full swing, and everyone couldn't get enough of him. I think Lottie Woad, as great as she's been on the golf course, and like I said, I don't mean this to come off like in a slight. If anything, it's probably good. It's probably what's best for her career. But on the golf course, right, her game doesn't necessarily jump off the page. But in the last week, I mean, I've read through almost all of her interview transcripts from today at the Women's Open, and last week, her pre-tournament presser in Scotland, and then after each round, particularly the final round. I mean, she just doesn't give you that much substance for someone like myself, a writer who is, wants kind of, a good headline. And I don't think she's going to give that to you. And not to say that Tom Kim always gave that to us, but when Tom Kim spoke, like he had some funny things to say, and he wasn't shy to do those quirky PGA Tour social media videos and stuff where he's at the Masters and he's trying pimento cheese for the first time, which is one more pimento cheese sandwich than I've ever had in my life. But I think that she, like, even today in her presser, right, they were like, well, how'd you celebrate the win? She was like, yeah, I drove down from Scotland to Wales, 6 hours in the car, and I listened to some football or soccer game right in the car, and it was just nice to be with my parents. And like she doesn't really give you a lot. I'm not saying that she's like boring. I'm not saying that she needs to say something that's gonna make a really juicy headline, but I just think she just kind of goes everything. She just really goes about her business. I mean, I think I've written in some of my articles about her the past week or so, right? Like it's business as usual, or she says like nothing really changed. Like playing in an LPGA event as an amateur and playing in an LPGA now with an LPGA tour card, like she just goes about it the same way, like shot by shot. And I know for us watching at home, we're always like, oh, these guys, they say like they just take it shot by shot, but we know that they have the same thoughts as we do, or they're getting shaky down the stretch. But I think with her, like honestly, she even said too, like she didn't even look at the leaderboard. Like she didn't know that at one point in Scotland in the final round that she got caught. So I literally think she just takes it like shot by shot, and she's just like really kind of focused on just playing well. And it seems like obviously it's working now. So
I think the interesting thing is, and I go back to this comparison to Scottie Scheffler, right? The beauty of not only like Scotty's game, but also Lottie's is that while Lottie Woad, of course, is a tremendous golfer in and of her own right, right? She was the ACC Freshman of the Year. She was the ACC Golfer of the Year this past year. Like, we didn't know who she was really until she won the ANWA. And it was like, all right, like, let's see where this goes from here. And it's great to be the ACC Freshman of the Year, but she wasn't doing anything in individuals. She wasn't jumping off the page, winning every single event in the ACC anyways. It's very similar to like what Scottie Scheffler did in the early part of his career. I forgot who mentioned, I think Bryson was saying it in an interview. Scotty sucked in college. Like, what happened to Scottie Scheffler? He all of a sudden just joins the PGA Tour, has a few really good rides, and next thing you know, wins the Waste Management, just runs away with 12 PGA Tour wins in 2 years. Lottie kind of fits the same mold, right? She isn't the prolific winner that Rose Zhang was. When Rose Zhang came out of college, she was the best Stanford Cardinal since Tiger Woods. That right there is like, all right, you basically gotten the LeBron James moniker the second you even left campus, and the pressure gets to you. Tom Kim wins his first event in his fourth start. All of a sudden, has 3 wins in 2 years. Wow, look at that! Like, this guy's the next big phenom. You can even go back the last 10 years, right? Jordan Spieth had the dominant 2014-15. Where's he kind of gone from there? Ricky Fowler, this boisterous personality with the orange clothes and the super long shaggy hair, the California surf boy. What happened to him? And like even in recent memory, again, the only person that I can say took the hype and has lived up to it, and even then there's come with some stumbles, is Ludwig Oberg. It's really the only other example. But I think the beauty of it is that everybody who I've mentioned, with the exemption probably of Oberg, had a bigger personality or had something about them that was either their game's insane and we all are enamored by them, or their off the course look is just as much as their on the course thing. I remember Tom Kim, he won his second event at the Shriners. They put him on GQ magazine. I was like, oh, this guy's like the next big Korean. Like it was him and Keith Mitchell in like a 4-week span gracing the GQ catalog, and Tom Kim was like, he almost looked like a fish out of water. So I think like it's fascinating to see like people like Lottie Woad, Scotty Scheffler, Ludwig Oberg, who are very much humble. They're kind of quiet. They don't give you a whole lot of substance, except for when Scotty Scheffler wants to get like existential and talk about like how golf doesn't define his life and how he loves how it's just him or a part of him. But they play their craft really well. They play it really smooth, and they just simply do what is best for them to succeed. And I think that's the new way, I guess, of the aspiring pro. Don't be this big, boisterous, loud, insane kind of personality. Just put your head to the grindstone and just keep on going.
No, 100%. Go ahead, Steve.
Couple of more minutes to you. I want to trend away from the golf. I want to get your opinion on a couple of other things. The Yankees, man, what's the dealio? Like I've been dying. I remember back in college when the Giants would suck ass. I mean, they still kind of do. Hopefully Justin Dar turns it around. But we used to watch the Giants games and call into the post game show, and me and Kieran would complain about whatever it was. I'll never forget. It was the week that Daniel Jones ate crap and got tackled by the wind.
On Thursday Night Football against the Eagles.
That was putrid. And KB makes fun of me to this day for that moment. But when it comes to the Yankees, I listen to WFAN every morning and I think, wow, like what would Max say about Anthony Volpe and how he's going to end up working for Uber Eats next year? Or who are they going to acquire now at the deadline and freak out? And was Ryan McMahon the right choice? Or what do you think of Ahmed Rosario? What's going through your head? And should Aaron Boone be fired, yay or nay?
Okay, well, to be fair, Steve, you just gave me a lot of questions. So I will
Give
say
me
Anthony Volpe.
Your hot take about the Yankees. That's the question.
So Anthony Volpe, right? I mean, he's public enemy number one. He had another error today in the first inning, but he just had a home run in the top of the ninth.
Yes.
But right now, that made it a 7-4 game. Now Devin Williams is trying to close it out. It's 7-5. So that home run might end up being the difference. He also had an RBI single earlier in the game. I'll say with Boone, there are things that, of course, Boone does that kind of drives me a little crazy. And I understand that we talk about Lottie Woad and like things that she says, not saying enough. And then Boone, like, just kind of like flat out makes excuses for his players
right in front of
every single day. But at the same time, too, I'm just not one of these people that's like, Aaron Boone needs to be fired. Aaron Boone needs to be fired. I don't think like a lot of these struggles are attributed to him. The team has been super injured, to be honest. Like they lost their third starter. They lost, I mean, right now, obviously Judge is out for probably another week and a half. The thing with, like I said, it's hard for me. I really like cringe. Like last night, someone had a fire Brian Cashman banner at the game. And I understand the criticisms that come with him. But it's really hard for me to like be full blown, like fire Brian Cashman when I know they haven't won a World Series since 2009, but every single year I've never seen a losing team in my life. Every single year, almost every single year, we're in the playoffs or at least contending for a playoff spot. But it does frustrate me that like we go into the season and then and I shouldn't say we, but they go into the season and they need a third baseman, right? I know Oswaldo got hurt, but there's just seemingly is all these needs that need to be done at the trade deadline. And you just kind of wish that maybe they did them in the offseason and they're not like scrambling to fill a third base and two relievers and a starting pitcher and a right-handed bat, utility player and outfielder. It just seems like every year. There was an interesting column in The Athletic, I think by Ken Rosenthal last week, and it was like it's kind of becoming a little bit of a punchline. Like, what does Brian Cashman need this year at the deadline? So I'm not going to get on him completely, but it seems like every year or two, there's like one or two things that kind of just blows up in his face, and it's been difficult to fix it. But then again, went to the World Series last year. I know they didn't win it. It was pretty brutal in 5 games, but besides the Nestor Cortez, Tim Hill decision in Game 1, I don't really put any of that on Boone.
I'm actually surprised that you're playing the contrarian here. I was expecting the fire Cashman, fire Boone, get rid of Volpe.
No, I hear these calls. I listen to sports talk here in New York or New Jersey, where technically I am right now, all day, every day, and it's Yankee fans are just there's a large chunk of Yankee fans that are just like
the worst.
It's like, all right, I understand you're mad. I understand that right now, since like the middle of June, we have the worst record in baseball, along with the Rockies and the White Sox. Like, some of your criticisms are fair. You have a right to be upset, especially with this payroll. But at the same time, too, it's like, just let's take a deep breath and really look at this, and not just we're not going to fire Aaron Boone in the middle of the season after we just won the American League last year, right? Brian Cashman, like, I understand maybe he's worn out his welcome a little bit, but there's just not, you just cannot also deny like a lot of the good that he's done. And it's like, all right, like, you want to move on from him. I understand. Maybe it's run its course, but then who are you bringing in that's going to be better than him? Because if who you're potentially bringing in going to constantly make you a contender every single year?
It's so nice. And KB, you and I can both kind of commiserate here, even though we're neck and neck trying to like stab each other in the throat to try and get ahead in the NL East. But it's so nice when you're kind of at the top, and yeah, there are some concerns. There are some things to think about. I mean, Gregory Soto in his first start blew it for the Mets.
It's a tale as old as time. I loved seeing that.
Beauty and the Beast, man.
Oh,
great movie.
Beautiful.
Even better story when you get to chat deadline stuff. But it's funny. You can't tell me that Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman don't have some like Epstein list blackmail on the Steinbrenners that are keeping them in the seat. The only other person that I've ever seen in the history of baseball who has managed to hold his seat for a longer amount of time and their team just stay in neutral, albeit the Yankees neutral is actually pretty damn good, is Mike Scioscia. Mike Scioscia was the manager of the Angels for like 24 years. Like, what did he do outside of win one World Series title that's given him the right to manage that team? He was there in the Mike Trout era when he was starting out. He had been there for that long. That's actually absurd. But Max, I don't want to get your grinds gearing more and more. We'll talk more off air. I'm curious I'm very curious to get your take on the Ahmed Rosario situation. I don't know what the deal is with that. I think it's a bit of a weird move. But final thing before we go, prediction on the Giants record this year. What's Jackson Dart's? Will he play?
I am skeptical that he will play. There's been a lot of debate, as I'm sure you've seen, whether he should play, whether he shouldn't play. There's actually a lot of positive signs, right? When you look at quarterbacks in recent years who haven't played their first year and turn out to actually be better players than quarterbacks who just start week 1 of their rookie year, right? I mean, Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes are obviously the first 2 examples you look at. And then you look at someone like Zach Wilson, sorry, Jet fans, but
Jalen Hurts.
I think Dart, I think Dart, I do want to see him play a little bit this year. I think, which is probably what's going to happen, is the Giants might not be, and maybe KB will laugh at this in a few months when we go back at this take, but I don't think we're a great team. I think we're better than last year. I think the defense is actually going to be really good. And I mean, the secondary is a little wobbly, but I think if everything comes together, like, this can be a top 10 defense in the NFL. And now a second year of Neighbors, if the offensive line is a little bit better with a healthy Andrew Thomas, hold our breath. And Russell Wilson at quarterback. I mean, maybe like they surprise you and win. The schedule is tough, so maybe you win, like, best case scenario is like a 6 or 7 win season. maybe it just doesn't all come together and they do end up winning like 5 games. But if I think once they're mathematically eliminated, then you do start Dart. And I would like to see Dart start like the final like 2 or 3 games of the year.
Maybe the funniest tweet that I saw, someone tweeted out, "Oh, Russ sucks. He was so bad in Denver and Pittsburgh." He goes, "Yeah, this ain't Denver and Pittsburgh. This is the New York effing Giants." And it's just it's a meme, and it's Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson, and Cam Scatterboo, like side by side, like back to back, like an AI image. Someone quote tweets it and goes, "You'll have the Osama bin Laden edits by week 6."
Oh,
Absolutely horrible. Now I'm all I know is that Cam Scatterboo is trending towards being like the Thunder and Lightning. I'm so ready for the Tracy Scatterboo. Run it down your throat. Check down City from Rusty.
Don't need to pay a running back all that money.
Give me Cam Scatterboo. That guy just already screams.
$14 million a year.
Hey, sometimes it pays to win a championship, baby.
You know, it's going to be nice, Max, when we have you back on. A, for Ryder Cup. B, when the Giants ultimately go and play Philadelphia, we'll have you back on to chat that matchup. Hopefully, we can give some good insights. And I actually want to get you on for a project that we're looking to do. We're not going to announce it yet, but it's in the works. We'll let you know off air on what the plans are, but we'd love to have you on. Max, thank you for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Again, hopefully I can get you on towards the Tour Championship. Once Ryder Cup comes around, team selections are going to be a little bit testy. I have a feeling. I'm curious to know what your opinions are going to be, but we'll get to that once we turn around. But Matt Schreiber at Twitter, Matt Schreiber 13, again, of SI and Newsday. Max, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me. It's good to
We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot to get to, including our shout out to the week, our beer money picks as we prep for the Wyndham Championship. Don't go anywhere. For KB and Sivo right here from the Underground.
Subscribe to Get in the Hole Pod.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by our amazing merch partners, PHI Apparel Company. With their unique designs for all, there's no doubt in our minds you will stand out in the crowd. Rep your favorite golf podcast and get your official Get in the Hole shirts and hoodies at phiapparel.co. When you check out, use code UNDERGROUND to get 10% off your entire order. Again, that's code UNDERGROUND for 10% off your next merch order at phiapparel.co. Stand out in the crowd, on the course, at the 19th hole, or quite frankly, anywhere with the official merch partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia.
I always love when Max Schreiber's on the show. He's one of my favorite recurring guests at this company. He is the man. And Max Schreiber was brought to you by a new partner, Steve, that we got in the wee hours of the night just a couple nights ago that I'm very excited about, especially because they have brand new partner for the company. And I love it because there's locations in every city or close enough city for the places that everyone that works here inhabits. And this is a company you and I have talked about quite a bit over the years and wondering if we could get in cahoots with them. And here we are now, 5-Iron Golf. I'm very excited about this. There's multiple locations in New York, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, all over the place that truly just encapsulates what we need, because that means we can go wherever the wind takes us. And 5-Iron Golf, they are truly one of the most unique brands and companies out there. Steve, I didn't even realize how in-depth they went with the services they offer. Obviously, they've got the golf simulators there, but they have swing evaluations, an intro to golf. They even do club fittings, which I think is one of the coolest things out there. And I was scrolling through just the cost of, some of their simulator bays. And I think one of these days we're going to have a nice little company outing at 5-Iron Golf. Just have the squad together. It's going to be amazing. And guys, we got the hookups for you. Okay. 5-Iron Golf. You can check out all of their locations on their website by using our link in the description, and you get 15% off any of their services when you use our link in the description. So shop with our friends at 5 Iron Golf, get a swing eval, get a nice little intro to golf, book an outing with your friends, your family, do a club fitting, and get 15% off with our friends at 5 Iron Golf by shopping with the link in our description.
Yeah, dude. Not to mention also on top of the fact that they're brand partners with Fanatics, they have Callaway Tour fittings available. Their rates are actually really affordable compared to most of those other golf-based simulators that you go to, whether it's a small-time company or even like take a Top Golf, for example, right? You can go out to a Top Golf and it's going to cost you $400 for a group of 4 all of a sudden, and that's before you even order food and you're playing for a few hours. Their rates are as low as $60 an hour for groups of up to 12. Not on top of that, it's even more than just golf. They also have multi-sports. You can play soccer. You can play any sort of sport that you want. It's completely immersive. It's a great experience. I've played once at their location out in Fidei in Manhattan, but locations across not only New York, but Philadelphia, Detroit, like you had mentioned. We can go anywhere from downtown Philly to Manhattan to downtown Detroit, DC, and a bunch of new places that are opening up too, and promotions upwards of almost every single day. Actually, something that I think is really cool now for a lot of the folks out there who are now looking to do their fantasy football drafts, they do host draft parties for up to 12.
That's pretty sweet.
They offer late night golf rounds 7 days a week from 9 p.m. to close, $25 an hour, $5 happy hour from 3 to 6. And of course, Sunday fun days, $5 bottomless wings and $5 draft beers all day. They offer military discounts. So get in on 5 Iron Golf. Check out that link in our description to get swinging with 5 Iron Golf today. And with that being said, we got
to go do some videos of 5 Iron Golf, me and you.
Oh,
that would be the ultimate, just video content for us to go out and do, because 5 Iron it's truly a brand you and I have talked about in the past and being like, yo, how can we get in cahoots with them simply because they're right in our backyards? And here we are, Steve. Here we are.
Not to mention also the logo is just it's perfect.
Perfect.
In every single way. With that being said, we got to jump right into the second half of the show here. We start off with our shout outs of the week. And of course, while we love 5 Iron Golf as our new partners, we're also staying very true to the OGs and the people who have been there from the jump. And Acorn Hills is one of those partners. I got to tell you guys, in love with what they are doing. Our boy Nate out in the Pittsburgh area has been absolutely killing it. They are our favorite merch partners who are changing clothing through conservation. They're offering eco-friendly packaging, materials, and clothing tags on styles that you'll love. Their summer drop came out in early June. They keep on hammering home the great deals and the awesome apparel by using the same distributors as some of your favorite brands. I'm talking guys like FootJoy, Peter Millar, Adidas, Nike, and the like. They have the styles that you want from the manufacturers, that instead of paying $100 for a quarter zip, you can get it at a really modest and good price with good quality fabrics. And of course, for every dollar you spend, the National Forest Foundation will plant a seedling to promote afforestation across our great country. Be sure to use code GITH15. That's get in the hole 15 for 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Again, GITH15 for 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com, and look your best from the ground up. We start off with our first shout out of the week. We mentioned him earlier on the show with Max. With the 3M Open, got a 2K winner. That's a great line from Jim Nance, by the way, on a Sunday Paramount stream. Kurt Kitayama takes home the 3M championship, wins and beats the field out by a stroke, edges out guys like Jake Knapp and Sam Stevens. Top of the leaderboard, he jumps into the top 50 for the FedEx Cup playoffs. He is firmly in position to go over to TBC Southwind for the FedEx St. Jude. A great run for Kurt Kitayama, who her first win since winning at Bay Hill last year. So a great turnaround for Kurt Kitayama as he heads to the playoffs. Of course, we already mentioned her prior, but what's another week without just shouting out Lottie Woad more, giving her the ultimate kudos from the fellas here. Lottie Woad, not only did she win in her first ever professional start at the Scottish Open, but I've never seen an athlete demand a television channel to give more golf in place of something else a day before it was scheduled. So CNBC right? Originally, they were going to stream the entirety of the LPGA event on Peacock and NBC's partners. They got CNBC to play 2 hours of golf just to follow Lottie Woad. On Saturday, they were like, "Oh, well, this girl's chasing the lead. We should air her." They were like, "Well, sorry, we can't put you on actual NBC. They're playing in Scotland. We need something to fit over." So they put them on CNBC, and like, perfect. Why can't the PGA Tour do this? Why can't the PGA Tour give us more coverage? I get it. I critique the PGA Tour a lot for having me go from USA to TNT to CBS to Peacock to all these different places to watch my matches. If I can get 2 hours uninterrupted of the final group and Lottie Woad, I'm happy with that. So good on her.
Yeah. Would be nice if PGA Tour could do that.
Yeah, will be nice. Hit the next one, Chief.
The next one. Shout out to Brian Rolap because he started his first day as PGA Tour CEO on Monday, officially commencing the beginning of the end of the Monahan era.
Thank God. Thank God. The start to the end. Now we sunset. The sun rose, and now it sets. Jay Monahan, soon to be out at PGA Tour HQ. I also want to give a shout out to Patrick Harrington this week. He won the Senior Open. He became only the 5th man to win both the Open Championship and the Senior Open out in Europe. What a victory from Patrick Harrington. Actually, a local attendee out here at Rock Hill Country Club in Manorville, close by to me. So that's some pretty crazy stuff from Patrick Harrington. Only one of 5 guys to ever be able to do that on both the PGA Tour and the Seniors Tour. Joaquin Niemann, KB, this is the one that I really want to get your take on. Shout out to Joaquin Niemann. Well, maybe not. We'll say. Won his 5th individual title on the LIVGolf Tour. Does this mean that he's just too good for LIV, or that LIV is not good enough for him?
He's the one that I'm like,
Why
the one that got away.
Yeah.
He's
the hot girlfriend that you had like before she like really got hot. Like she was like cute in high school, but then she went to college and she became an absolute tenor.
He's the hot goth girlfriend.
So he's the like the sexual awakening.
He's like Sam Manson and Danny Phantom.
You know who I actually had that thought about recently? I was watching Breaking Bad. Like Kristen Ritter, is that for me?
Fun fact, I've never watched Breaking Bad, but my parents just finished a hardcore binge of Breaking Bad. Like
I'm in the middle of it. I'm gonna have to talk to Margie and the OG about their thoughts.
I think they finished watching it in like less than 2 months.
That's insane.
Like they ran the gambit on that thing.
That's like nose to the grindstone stuff. That's wild.
Literally every night they were watching like a multitude of episodes. It was crazy.
What do you think here? Like Joaquin Niemann, 1st to 5. No one else has more than 3. Like he's at a different level than everybody else, and he's one of the younger guys in terms of the top tier talent. It really does feel like the one who got away, and I wish like would actually be a great like what if he stayed on the PGA Tour kind of thing. And we can debate that till the cows come home. But the idea that like Joaquin is at this level, it makes you think, is LIV just not good enough for him, or is he just too good for what they're trying to put out?
I think he's too good for LIV, honestly.
Wonder how do they break those contracts? How do they manage to get back? Guys have done it. Guys have played PGA Tour events. They Monday qualified. They fought through the KFT to do it. So who knows? We'll have to see. Actually, I had something else planned, but I'm going to just skip over it. I want to give our birthday shout out this week before, of course, we get into who else is celebrating a birthday today as we record on a Tuesday. Big shout out this week. A very loud fire truck just drove right through and farted all over my mojo. Anywho,
Did it fart as loud as Scotty Scheffler on the course though? Because he did confirm to part of my take that was him that farted.
That's tremendous. I saw that. I knew I should have added it to the show notes. I just totally like flopped and didn't do it. Yes, that was. No, I would say the fire truck was a little bit louder. But happiest of birthdays to the only woman that if I was not married, I'd probably date who's taller than me. She just got to the ripe old age of 27, just like myself. Nelly Korda celebrated her birthday yesterday on the 28th, celebrating her 27th birthday. Of course, 2020 Olympian winner of the 2024 Chevron, the 2021 Women's PGA Championship. She was the LPGA Tour Player of the Year in 2024, the Rolex Major Award winner in 2024. She has 15 LPGA Tour titles, and she's been on an absolute heater as one of the number one best players in the world. So shout out to Nelly Korda. She celebrates her 27th birthday. Welcome to the 27 Club, Nelly. We'll see you hopefully at 28. But yeah,
I sure hope so. The 27 Club is not a great thing to be.
That was.
That damn fire truck. That damn fire truck.
Yeah, you ever say something and you just like totally don't mean it? And I'm like, wow, like happy 27th. Yeah. Like looking forward to turning 28 with you next year. Yeah, that's. You know, they had Mac Miller bobblehead day at the Pirates game.
Incredible.
That shit was sick.
They announced that they're doing more, I think, because they like the Pirates ownership stinky. 100%.
Stinky.
Their brands and marketing team phenomenal. Because when they had the Paul Skeens bobblehead earlier this season, it was supposed to be for like X amount of fans. They ran out of bobbleheads because they weren't anticipating. So if you had a ticket for that game, you could redeem the ticket to get a bobblehead to make sure that everyone got bobbleheads. And I believe they announced that they're like restocking all of the Mac Miller merchandise at their team store because they sold out of everything.
I don't know if you saw, the line went over the Allegheny Bridge and down.
Yep.
Like, that's nuts. Also, by the way, I just totally bypassed the entire fact that I made a really bad joke and I turned it into something really good. KB, let's get into the birthdays this week. Who else is celebrating a birthday today?
I do want to say before we get into the birthdays, today has been a wild day for the celebrities. I don't know if this has crossed your timeline, Steve, but did you see all of the celebrity couple updates that we got in about a 3-hour span today?
No, I am totally out of the loop.
So today, Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas were seen holding hands, walking in the streets together.
That's like a 20-year age gap.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, I believe, is 63. She's 37.
37?
Yeah.
I thought she was like 31. Wow.
Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau went to dinner together.
Okay.
And officially confirmed dating by People magazine, Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson.
Is that like a Naked Gun thing? Was Pamela Anderson in the original Naked Gun?
Maybe.
Actually, no, she couldn't have been. That was like the 70s. Now, was she in it?
I don't know. She's also way younger than I thought.
No, Pamela and actually, hold on. No, they're both.
They're in the new one.
That's all right. That's why. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
She's way younger than I thought. She's only 58.
That is younger than I thought. Man, those damn girls on Baywatch, bro.
The Baywatch babes. But yeah, that was all within like a 3-hour span that all of those things were confirmed.
Not necessarily like relationship based, but certainly like falls under this. I don't know if you heard this. Astronomer, the company who had the guy with Coldplay, not only is the CEO suing Coldplay, they hired Chris Martin's ex-wife, Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow, as a spokeswoman. That's amazing.
I saw somebody say, I believe it was one of the Bustin' with the Boys producers saying that he was going to sue FanDuel for all of the parlays that he lost. Same energy. But let's get to the birthdays, Steve. Today's birthday's here on July 29th. A very fun one. It's crazy that he and I are like in the same age range, and he is literally 3 months older than me. Born on this day in 1993, one Dakota Prescott, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Handsome man. Wish he didn't sign that long-term deal.
Yes. Here's a blast from the past for you, Steve. Born in Defiance, Ohio. What a name of a city. Born on this day in 1984, Chad Billingsley.
Wow.
Chad Billingsley, born on this day in 1984.
What site are you on that they're citing Chad Billingsley?
onthisday.com/today/birthdays.php.
That's a ridiculous birthday shout.
Born on this day in 1983, Ashley McBride, American country music singer-songwriter, known for Girl Going Nowhere, A Little Dive Bar in Dahlonega, born in Waldron, Arkansas.
It's a good song.
Also born on this day, Fernando Alonso, Formula One driver from Spain, champion in 05-06, his 44th birthday today. Also born on this day in 1980, Ryan Braun. The fact that Ryan Braun was born in 1980 makes my brain hurt, but it's also not the Ryan Braun you're thinking of. It's the Ryan Braun that played for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Canadian baseball player born in Kitchener, Ontario. Yes, there are multiple Ryan Brauns. Born on this day in 1977, Danger Mouse, also known as Brian Burton, American alternative rock and electronic hip-hop musician, songwriter, and Grammy Award-winning record producer for the Grey Album, Gnarls Barkley, The Black Keys, born in White Plains, New York in 1977.
Hell fucking yeah.
Also born on this day, one of the all-time baseball names on the back of a jersey, I believe it's pronounced Wojciechowski, Steve Wojciechowski, born in 1970, pitched for the Oakland A's. He was born in Blue Island, Illinois on this day in 1970. Also born on this day, Martina McBride, celebrating her 59th birthday today. Also born on this day, where did he go? Steve Fry, former Philadelphia Philly, born in Meadowbrook, Pennsylvania, born in 1963. Also born today here on July 29th, Japanese politician Fumio Kishida, born in Tokyo, Japan. He's the current prime minister of Japan since 2021. Moving right along here. Also born on this day, the Canadian rock vocalist and bassist of the critically acclaimed band Rush, Geddy Lee, born on this day in 1953.
I love those videos where it's South Park and they do it, and then it goes right into Tom Sawyer. That's great clips.
So good.
Monday Warrior, mean child.
Born on this day in 1947, American golf instructor who is known for working with the likes of Fred Couples, Jay Haas, Craig Stadler, Lanny Watkins, and Steve Elkington. Born in New Rochelle, New York, Dick Harmon.
Dick Harmon, father of now big-time golf instructor Butch Harmon, who, if you watch Full Swing, is basically the swing coach for every top 10 player in the world.
Great name, Dick Harmon. Also born on this day, American actress Roz Kelly, known for Owl and Pussycat and Happy Days, born in Mount Vernon, New York. And then we're getting into the fun ones here, Steve. This is a great one. He is a staple of my upbringing and just like the news. Born on this day in 1938, sadly passed away in 2005. Peter Jennings, ABC Evening News anchor, Canadian-American, born in Toronto, Ontario. Also born on this day, a very famous golf event sponsor, Charles Schwab, celebrating his 88th birthday today, born in 1937 in Sacramento, California. Also celebrating a birthday is American professional wrestler, manager, and actor in the like of Cyndi Lauper music videos and the Super Mario Brothers, born in Rome, Kingdom of Italy, Captain Lou Albano, born in 1933. Also celebrating a birthday. It's a great birthday day today. Canadian Hockey Hall of Fame left winger, Art Ross Trophy winner of 1950, NHL Players Association pioneer, born in Renfrew, Ontario, Ted Lindsay, born in 1925 on this day.
All time.
Also celebrating a birthday today is the one and only, just a great politician name, Francis Sargent, born on this day in 1915. He was the 64th governor of Massachusetts, born in Hamilton, Massachusetts. And one last one here. This one is just, it's a great name, okay? It's a great name because of how terrible he was. Born on this day in 1883, Steve. Benito Mussolini.
So it's funny you bring this up because this was the name that I wanted to actually bring up. Do you know the story of his great grandson?
Stanley Yelnats?
No. His great grandson, aka Romano Benito Floriani Mussolini, which, by the way, it's very common that in Italian you also use your surname, so it's Floriani Mussolini. So technically, really, if you consider it, if he was American, his name would be Romano Floriani. But because, of course, of the Italian way, he is, in fact, a Mussolini. He was recently signed in 2016 to the AC Roma's youth academy, got transferred to Lazio, and is currently on professional loan at Cremonese from Lazio. So he's 23 years old, 2022, born in Rome, plays right back and right midfield. But the crazy part is about the story, the sports club Lazio, do you know how they got their start?
Refresh the memory of the people, Steve.
Lazio got their start in 1900. And they were the only major Roman club that resisted the fascist attempts to merge all of the city's teams. So they broke apart. So Floriani Mussolini is playing for the only team that resisted his great-grandfather's desire to merge all soccer teams.
His great-grandfather is rolling over in his grave.
Also, I think it's amazing how on his jersey he puts Floriani M. Everybody knows
smart branding. Smart branding, though. You can't be running around Italy with Mussolini on the back of your jersey, though.
Well, I recently found out like the last remaining descendants of Hitler are literally like 20 minutes from my house.
Jesus Christ, Steve.
But they live like in like private like seclusion.
That makes sense.
I mean, I would too if I was a Hitler. Only other birthday that I want to point out.
I have two others too that I.
Oh, all right. What you got?
We have a great inventor born on this day in 1796. Steve.
Oh my God.
Walter Hunt. Can you guess what he invented? He was born in Martinsburg, New York.
Hunt's ketchup.
No, he is the inventor of the safety pin and the sewing machine.
It's pretty good invention.
Pretty good. And then my last one that I have here, born in 1166, which might go down as our earliest birthday we've talked about here, just because it's a phenomenal name. French Crusader, born in County of Champagne, France. Henri of Champagne.
And of course, the last one, not to ever be the last, even though he was the last of his friends to get hitched. Ted Mosby himself, Josh Radnor, turned 51 today.
The man.
I feel so bad that he got shafted so many times by those poor women. Not gonna lie to you, bro. He should have been with Stella, and I will die on that hill forever. We are trudging along, and when I say trudging along, I absolutely mean it. Hour and 20 in to our awesome show here, but unfortunately for you guys, it is time that we pack things up and we get to our final segment. And how else do we end all of our shows? The final week of the PGA Tour regular season calendar, the Wyndham Championship, with some beer money presented by our boys at Kenwood Beer. KB, tell them how good Kenny is and what he offers and brings to the table for not only your summer outings, but what you're going to do this fall and this winter and next spring and summer and every day after that.
It's Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets, and you can get Tall Boy Kenny's at the Man Center all season long. Again, visit kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, please drink responsibly.
Let's get right into it, KB. Why not? Let's shoot the shit. Let's talk about some things. Let's see who we have this week at the Wyndham. Let me start off with the top 20 pick. And the floor is yours, my friend. Your top 20 selection at the final event of the regular season here for the FedEx Cup.
Do you have our overall standings going into this event?
I honestly have not kept track of our standings because we have been hot ball sack for the last 6 weeks. However, I can give you how he did last week. You nailed your Chris Goddard up top 20. I got washed from 20 all the way down. Your Four Nations went 2 for 4. Taylor Pendrith and Siwoo Kim couldn't get it done, but Victor Perez and Adam Scott got it done. I'm so mad, dude. Keith Mitchell missed the cut almost on the number. I nailed the Jake Knapp, Chris Goddard up top 30, top 20. Came so close, cashing a good one, but overall didn't do as bad as we thought. Wyndham Clark, of course, finished in the top 5, so can't complain there, even though I had him to win the event. So haven't been great, but let's see if another good week isn't. We have actually nabbed plenty of wins probably over the last 3 weeks. So we've actually been accruing some good wins.
Top 20. This is including ties at plus 200. I'm going to go Ricky Fowler.
You're going to go with Ricky Fowler. I am going to go with, he is at a really staggering, actually plus 210. Actually, no, I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this. I'm going to go with Jake Knapp at plus 180. Again, really good form. He's been so good the entirety of the year and really consistent. Top 40 currently in the FedEx Cup standings. You just can't get over the hump and get that win. He's been struggling in that regard to close late, but I certainly think not only do I like Jake Knapp for top 20, I also like him as a first-round leader going into this week at the Wyndham and Sedgewood. Top 10, who you got?
It's funny you bring up Jake Knapp because his girlfriend went super viral on the tweet machine for quote tweeting the PGA Tours. Give us a piece of golf lore about yourself.
Oh, that was good.
Went mega viral. And because of that, top 10, including ties, I am indeed going with Jake Knapp.
Take a nap on them hoes. What you say?
Honk shoe.
That? Oh,
it's the God. Noise that cartoons make when they sleep. They're honk shoe.
That's the Timmy Turner sleep.
Exactly.
By the way, I rewatched on Paramount Plus recently the Fairly Odd Parents episode when they Channel Chasers. Such that show was like premiere
peak,
but it's terrible because he goes to the one like scene where it's like him as like a dad. And I'm like, oh no, I'm closer to that than I was when I was a little fucking dweeb watching this show. I almost feel bad for myself. Almost kind of terrible. Top 10 selection here. I am gonna go mold of consistency. I'm gonna ride with. I need some winners. I want some really good numbers here. There have been some guys who, and we mentioned it with Max earlier in the show, who have just really been consistent. And playing in some really quality tournaments throughout the year and have managed to stay and stick around like high up on the FedEx Cup standings throughout the year. Like Sam Stevens is one of those guys who I'm looking at. He has really good odds going into this week. But I'm going to go with a British man who has been on an absolute burner. And when I say a burner, I mean specifically the fact that dating all the way back to May 11th at the Myrtle Beach Classic, he has not finished. Only once has he finished outside of the top 25. That's Harry Hall. Harry Hall, the man who, just like Bryson DeChambeau, wears the, or used to be like Bryson DeChambeau, wears the flat cap when he goes out to play. His run has been almost generational, and it's largely due in part to the putter. He's one of the top 5 putters on the PGA Tour this year, and an absolute worm burner, 2.8 strokes gained putting. It's absurd from Harry Hall. Top 10 for him. He's priced at a very reasonable and very affordable plus 360. Top 5, who you got?
Top 5. I'm scrolling the board here. It's kind of a safe play, but I like the value of just the number plus 450, including ties. Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on the Keegan train. However, I'm going to go a little bit deeper back on the odds here and go with somebody who could use some really good positional, in a positional sense. So a bit of a move up in the FedEx Cup standings to solidify his spot in the standings for now. Go to Southwind next week and continue his good form and his good play. I'm actually going to go with Jordan Spieth here, one of the best putters on earth. I think it's a really good spot for Spieth. He also needs something to go right because really the next 3 weeks in the playoffs is going to be a major spot in order to basically see, can you be on this Ryder Cup team? Jordan Spieth in the past has made Ryder Cup teams. He's been a consistent presence, one of the best putters, one of the best match players, but he needs a good finish this week. Spieth's one of those guys. I certainly think that like Ricky Fowler is one of those players, but amongst all the guys that are on the outside, Spieth is not getting in on an AQ. He really isn't even close to the top 12 of the captain's pick spots. So therefore, I think a big finish here from Spieth is going to be huge for the brand. Your gimme pick.
My gimme. Let's see.
Gimme more.
I'm gonna go with it's plus 100. I like it. Top 30 Hideki.
Hideki T30 for you. I'm gonna go a little bit further back and also in that plus money range. And it's crazy that you can get him at this price. We had mentioned him earlier on the show. He's currently 60th in the FedEx Cup standings. He's kind of sort of on the bubble. He needs to make the cut. He needs a decent week. Tony Finau plus 125 for a top 40. We're not even asking a lot out of you, Tony. We just simply need you to make the cut, play good enough golf, be a little bit inspired, and do something good for yourself in order to solidify your spot in the playoff. Let's get it, man. Last regular season event. The last 4 nations. What do you got?
Oh boy. I'm
a real boy.
We are going to. We're going to start in South America, Steve. We're going to start in South America. We are going to go with Nico Echevarria plus 160. And we are going to mosey on over to Canada and take old pal Adam Svensson at plus 130. Ooh. And then we're going to run it back in the land of France with Victor Perez at plus 110. And we will close things out with, if this page wants to load for me, here we go. Top Japanese, Hideki Matsuyama, plus 110.
What's the total payout there?
Plus 2,537 odds, $10 to net you 263.71.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Love to see it. We're going to jump over to my ladder parlay this week. And man, am I cooking something here? I'm cooking something for the kids. I'm cooking something for the mothers out there. Cooking something for your grandmother, your grandfather, your cousins, even your dog. Everyone's going to be eating it. And they're going to love it. It's going to be like the 4th of July all over again. Top 40 pick. This guy literally named his child after this golf tournament. Webb Simpson. Wyndham Simpson is an actual name. I believe it's his daughter. He fucking loves this place. Top 40 for Webb Simpson. Top 30 needs a good week to get in to the top 70. He's 74th right now in the standings. Needs to place well enough, at the very least, make the cut. Christian Bezadenhout, top 30. And top 20, including ties, we are going to go with where is he in the standings right now? All right. He has given us glimmers of hope and opportunities to say, you know what? This guy's pretty damn good, and this guy can do some damage late in the year. To date, he is currently sitting at. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to take him. I'm being an ass. I'm sorry. I'm going top 20. We're going Denny McCarthy at plus 210. That gives you a 16-1 wager on Webb Simpson top 40, Christian Bezadenhout top 30, and Denny McCarthy top 20 to pay out $10 to get you 160 big ones.
I just want a refresher. I could be wrong. Did we not put Denny McCarthy on the exempt list following the Scottish Open, or was that somebody else?
Did we do that?
Because he was supposed to make the cut, and then he missed the cut.
You might be bringing up bad memories now. Hold on. You're getting me nervous.
I'm just looking out for you.
I picked Denny to make the cut at the Open, and he missed it.
And
all right,
missed.
You know what? You know what? Thank you for that. Thank you for being a good fellow and watching out for me in that regard. So he is, in fact, on the shit list for now. Let me go back. Let me look at those top 20 odds. I'll find you something similar on the odds board that I think might be interesting or of note. Let me find somebody who's actually, you know what? Let's not even go any freaking further, guys. I already know who I want in this spot. And I'll tell you this much. He has better odds. Yeah, he has better odds. Plus 260. Winner of this event in the past. Tom Kim.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. Tom Kim. Plus 260. Forget that 16-1 payout. It's now 19-1. Give me that. 190 big ones on a $10 bet. Webb Simpson T40. Christian Bezadenhout, the longest name in golf, at top 30. And Tom Kim, top 20. Finally, we wrap up your winner at the Wyndham Championship. Will we get the 1,000th unique winner in PGA Tour history?
It's possible, but I'm going to announce this in honor of former intern Ethan at plus 3,500. Steve, I'm going with Kim Si-woo, or better known as Si-woo Kim.
The fact that this man called him Kim Si-woo is just so perfect.
And then
Ethan,
that video went
brother,
nuclear.
Ethan, brother, we absolutely fucking love you for that one. That was like all time. Oh boy.
I also like Si-woo Kim to be fair. If you don't like him to win, I also love him in the top 10, including ties at plus 300.
That's actually a really good shout.
Put that on my card.
Yeah, so my winner this week, the Wyndham Championship, is all about accuracy on the tee. It's a resort-style golf course out at Sedgwood Country Club. You need to be able to nail those greens. Putting is going to be paramount. It's kind of crazy because there's 4 guys on this list who I really do think have the absolute best shot to win. They're all towards the top of the leaderboard. None of them is going to be a unique winner by any stretch, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. But I truly do think that of the 4 people who can win this event, there's one guy in particular who kind of needs it the most. And going into a Ryder Cup year where he's probably going to end up making the team, I truly do think the fact that he had a really good beginning of the year or the middle point in the year, and sort of fell off a cliff a little bit. He needs to be able to get back to the form that he was at earlier in the year, make a good push for the Ryder Cup. I'm going to go with Ben Griffin at 25-1. Again, had a great run, has played really inspiring golf, just has not been at the same level as he was if you date back to like June when he went on a run, him and Andrew Novak, of just unstoppable golf for a long time. He has had a solid run as of late, right? He won the Charles Schwab, finished second at the Memorial, top 10 at the U.S. Open, 14th at Traveler, 13th at the Rocket, but 2 straight missed cuts at the John Deere and the Open. A lot of that was just because of one thing or the other. He's been gaining strokes in a lot of his areas, but at the John Deere just was not putting it well. At the Open, off the tee, which is really bad. Found a lot of that internal OB. But again, if he can get back, I think this is a big spot for Ben Griffin, particularly against Matt Fitzpatrick, who has also been on an absolute burner for the last probably 6 or 7 weeks. A completely new player, 2 guys who you will see in the Ryder Cup, probably in a matchup, possibly. I think it's going to be a really good match. And Keegan Bradley is going to have his hands full watching these 2 guys play, because this is a scouting trip, amongst other things. Some of these guys want to play because of Ryder Cup implications. Keegan's one of those guys, as well as, of course, Fitzy and Ben Griffin. So I will go with Ben Griffin here to win this week. KB, super long show, a lot of great stuff. Max Schreiber on an awesome interview with him. Really enjoy getting Max on. We'll have him on again to hopefully chat Ryder Cup as we get a little bit closer, possibly even tour title stuff, get into the match play bracket. It kind of feels like March Madness all over again now that we're officially done with the staggered stroke setup of the Tour Championship. It's great energy going into the FedEx Cup playoffs, probably the most anticipated in a long time, because, of course, this is going to be hashtag the biggest Ryder Cup ever. So a lot of things are riding on who can play longest, who can have that momentum going in to mid-September and the Ryder Cup, and let's see where things lead. Really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. A little bit of a note here too. If you're in the Philadelphia area, it'll be linked in the description. This coming Sunday, August 3rd, at the F1 Arcade in Philadelphia, Hungarian GP watch party, 9 a.m., lights out, away we go. Come out. Casey, Owen, myself, CFO Margie will be there. It's going to be a doozy of a time. And then immediately after the race, Casey and Owen will be doing a live recording of Underground Circuit from the F1 Arcade. Very excited about this. Very excited to be doing some stuff with the F1 Arcade in Philly. That place is unbelievable. During the race, the simulators will be open. It's going to be amazing. So if you want to attend, get your GA ticket using the link in the description and get 25% off a ticket when you use code Underground25. Underground is spelled just like Underground Circuit. It's no vowels except for the beginning U. Use code Underground25 to get 25% off a GA ticket. Come out to the F1 Arcade in Philly on Sunday, August 3rd, 9 a.m. for the race. Immediately after, live recording of Underground Circuit with Casey and Owen.
You know what's crazy? And I'm really excited for Casey and Owen to be doing this. F1's been a great partner for them. I really do think that while they do some awesome stuff at the F1 Arcade in Philly, I have a good feeling that just down the road at the Logan Square Philadelphia 5-Iron Golf, we're going to be doing major watch parties, possibly Tour Championship watch party if we can get them all on the phone. A little bit quick planning, but certainly think it's possible. I think that a lot of really good stuff is going to come from this new partnership, and I think one of those things is having like a home base almost to convene with golf fans of the program.
Dude, and even if we do stuff in the fall with them, like perfect, like nice little kickback at the 5-Iron.
Creature crown for the Sanderson Farm. Look at that.
When is that?
That's probably going to be in like October.
Let's see.
Something like that.
October 2nd to the 5th.
It's too bad I have a wedding that weekend. Damn it.
You bum.
Yeah, dude. Blame my boy Sean. John, if you're listening, bro, fuck you, dude. Because John parties for performing that same day on the 2nd. You had to get married, bro.
Just had to do it. What a scumbag.
That's going to do it for us here on episode 215 of the Emmy Award-winning Get in the Hole podcast. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe on all of our social media platforms at Get in the Hole Pod on X, really Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and beyond. And on our show links, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. If you're already listening to us, be sure to leave a 5-star rating. It just take 2 more seconds, and the engagement really helps get our name out there to other awesome, valuable listeners who keep us going. And of course, leave a comment as well as a subscribe. Click the subscribe button on YouTube at Underground Sports Philadelphia, and you can get all of your favorite USP programs from Top Bins to OTB to F1 Circuit and so on. You can get everything going on at Underground Sports Philadelphia. So once again, get episode 215 of Get in the Hole. For KB, I'm Steve-O. We'll see you guys.
It's the Philly episode. This is the Philly zip code episode.
I didn't know that, honestly.
It's Philly Day. 215, baby. Shout out.
I'm the most non-Philadelphian Philly in this company, but you know what? I take it. It's a nice little like piece to my my overall story and arch. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!